Hello, today on Bill and Frantz, the special guest is me, Stephanie Crone. Later, talk about hockey.
Hey folks, how you doing? Welcome back to the Bill and Frantz show.
Hey, today our guest is Stephen A. Crone, who's going to tell us about his project. Tell us about your project.
Well, I'm currently involved in a one-man production of Les Miserables, the country western musical. It's, eventually we want to do bigger things with it, but for now we just have a small playhouse, and it is just me doing all of the parts.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
As wonderful as this project is, Steve, you're having trouble getting backing. Why do you think that is?
Well, there are many trials and tribulations in any acting career, and I've made a few fox paws along the way. My last project did not receive the widest regard. It was Hamlet, the rap musical, and there were those who felt it was, well, not everything that it could be, let's just say that.
Yeah, I heard it was, a lot of people who were saying it was racially insensitive.
Well, a lot of these things get bandied about, and perhaps I was, tone deaf to the cultural ways of our times. I mean, not literally tone deaf, of course, but tone deaf. Just culturally, I come from a certain background that maybe limited my awareness of various social situations, and I was probably closest to Polonius when he sang, "I am a white bread cracker motherfucker. I am a white bread cracker motherfucker."
Wow. Interesting. Wow. How did that go over?
I felt that we were, in a period past history where we could look back and use different theatrical elements, for what they are, theatrical elements, but and without so much loaded social baggage, but there were those who felt that 2012 we just were not yet ready for a 90-minute Hamlet in blackface.
Wow. So do you think people should have a reason to be offended, or maybe it's out of context or something?
Well, I think it was perhaps a major miscalculation on my part. I have to admit where I went wrong. I didn't think that people still thought of it in the same light that they did, 40 years ago. I thought that, we had historical context around the situation.
Wow.
That's very post-historical.
Well, I thought so, but the critics and the public disagreed, and now I'm having trouble finding funding for all of my other projects.
Would you say that's the most difficult part of this?
Of this new project?
Yes.
The funding is one thing, but the most difficult part is finding unique and special voices for each and every character. The hardest, of course, are the female characters. For Fantine, I was looking for something, within the country western realm, but, a haggard but smart and weathered voice, and so, of course, I went to Dolly Parton, and, I spent many hours, in the shower, mostly in the beginning, with her classics, Jolene, 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 and, spending time, really, getting to know the voice, getting to know the woman, and trying to bring it all back to Les Miserables, and, when she's Fantine and singing, And the tigers come at night with their voices soft as thunder as they tear your dreams apart, as they turn your dreams to shame.
Right. Okay. Let's bring it back to the project at hand.
Well,
just an interjecting
Stefan.
question, Steve, real quick. Have you had a little bit to drink for the show?
no.
Okay. Just
Never imbibe before a performance.
He's a professional.
Okay.
After the performance, well, certainly.
Okay. Because you're just cracking me up right now, Steve.
I don't know how or why.
Well, anyway, Stefan A. Crone, tell me more about your plans, your future plans, and expectations for this project.
Well, I assume this will not have the same sort of baggage that my last project did, and maybe will redeem me in the public eye and take me from community theater to the national stage. And perhaps I would love to see this turned into a full-length musical on the big screen. I think that it is a natural American story in so many ways, much in the way a John Ford is, with one man seeking redemption and another man, a sheriff, out to get him. And, it just seems like a natural American story, and I want to tell it. And, I understand that when it becomes a big screen thing, it will not be a one-man show anymore. And a lot of people, would assume that I would take, the lead of Jean Valjean at that point. But, I mean, just because my personality and my identity mirror his, perseverance and heart doesn't mean that that is the greatest character for me. For me, the greatest challenge would be Javert and his moral quandaries of searching for this man and the obvious bloodlust that he has. And so that is the part that I find to be the most interesting and juicy, and that's the one that I feel that I excel most at. And I'd love to do a number for you here today, if you would like.
No problem. Well, hey. Well, Steve, we definitely look forward to that, But you are from Wisconsin, right?
Yes.
So what's up with the accent?
I don't know what you're talking about. I simply have perfect theatrical diction.
Good luck with the project,
Well, thank you.
Because I would like to see the results of this too. See how it pans out.
Well, every night in March.
Okay.
Stefan A. Crone.
There, out in the darkness, a fugitive running, falling from God, falling from grace. God be my witness, I never shall yield till we come face to face. Till we come face to face. He knows his way in the dark, but mine is the way of the law. And those who follow the path of the righteous shall have their reward. And if you fall as Lucifer fell, the flame, the sword, stars in your multitude, scarce to be counted, filling the darkness with order and light. You are the sentinels, silent and sure, keeping watching the night. Keeping watching the night. You hold your course in the sky. You hold your place in the same. And each in your season returns and returns, and is always the same. And And if you fall as Lucifer fell, you fall in flame. And so it has been, and so it is written on the doorway to paradise, that those who falter and those who fall must pay the price. Lord, let me find him, so that I might see him safe behind bars. I will never rest till then. This I swear, this I swear by the stars.
Hey, what's up, y'all? My man Seth is back in the chair, and we're going to sit down and talk about what's going down in sports today, especially hockey with the USA and, the NHL. What's up, Seth?
How you doing, Frantz? Good to see you.
Oh, it's good to see you too, man. What's going down? What's going down?
Well, what's going down is the National Hockey League season has shut down for about 2.5 weeks so that the best players in the NHL can participate in the 2014 Winter Olympics, which are taking place in Sochi, Russia, as you may have heard.
Now, that's hella cool. That's hella cool. But how does St. Louis get so many hockey players in there?
Yeah, well, the Blues have a really, really deep, really talented roster. We've got 10 players who were selected to represent their nations, representing 5 nations total, I believe. Slovakia, Czech Republic, USA, Canada, and Sweden. One of them's injured, so but yeah, the Blues, they just have a very talented, very deep roster. We've acquired some really quality players over the years and drafted and developed. The organization has on its own many quality players.
And if I may ask, the Blues having so many players in the Olympics and doing very well is indicative of where they are in the standings?
Yes, I would say that's a fair reflection. That's a good good line to draw. Yes, at the winter break, or I'm sorry, at the Olympic break right now, the Blues are first place in their division. They have the highest winning percentage in the National Hockey League, and they have the highest goal differential, meaning number of goals they've scored compared to the number of goals that they've given up. So those two indicators obviously speak very highly of the achievements thus far in the season, but there's about a third of the season left to go once the Olympic break is over.
Okay, with all this going down, and we got all these players in the Olympics, so we should expect the Blues to come back here and just kick some ass, right?
Well, it is really interesting because I think that some of the players in the Blues who Blues fans have felt like have been underperforming. One that leaps to mind is Patrick Berglund, a center who is from Sweden. He has been thrust into a role with much more responsibility for Sweden in the Olympics, and so far he's excelled. So it'll be very interesting to see if some of these players come back with some extra confidence, some extra pep in their step or skate or stride, if you will, and see if they accomplish some more. See if they're able to raise their game when they come back and rejoin the Blues.
Okay, well, we sure hope they do, because all that good stuff you're doing over there in Russia, bring it back home, baby. Right?
Yeah. Let's hope so. But it'll be real interesting to see how the Olympics play out. You've got U.S., you've got the United States, Canada, Russia, and Sweden being the 4 teams that are most likely to take home the 3 medals. Obviously, not all of them. Canada being the overwhelming favorite with an incredibly deep, talented roster, but right now the U.S. is showing quite a lot of gumption, to use maybe a slightly cliche sports term, but they've got a lot of hard-working guys, a lot of determination, and just this morning they were able to defeat Russia in one of these preliminary first-round games, and by what all accounts was a really, really thrilling finish. And T.J. Oshie of the Blues, perhaps my favorite player in the Blues, but real heart and soul guy who's got an amazing amount of talent to go along with his great work ethic. He scored 4 shootout goals to help the United States beat Russia in the shootout today. So,
So I don't know if you're really paying attention to the Olympics that well, but are there any surprising teams or countries or anything like that? Are you following that?
Yes, well, I wouldn't say the U.S. has been a surprise so far, but it's certainly been impressive the way they've dominated. They dominated their first game over Slovenia and Slovakia, that is, pardon me, and then today's victory over Russia. Surprises would include, on the negative side, Slovakia being a tremendous disappointment because they have a roster that's about 80% full of NHL players, and they've just not shown up and gotten the job done. Haven't played well at all. A positive a surprise, pardon me, on the positive side would be the nation of Slovenia actually had their first Olympic victory ever today when they defeated Slovakia. And they're a country of 2 million people. I read that they have 7 ice rinks in all of Slovenia, which is less than Afton, I think. So it's kind of impressive that these guys pulled it together, and so you have to be happy for a nation that was able to get their first victory, and a lot of happy Slovenians dancing around today.
Good for them.
But yeah, that's the only big surprise thus far. I would say you've got, as I said, you've got these top tier teams, and you've got some other teams that are kind of happy to be there, like Norway and Japan, but Slovenia took it to the next level. So I'm really interested to see how the next couple rounds go.
That is Seth. That's Seth with the information on the Olympics and hockey, and he will always be back on the show because this is our man.
Go Blues.
USA, USA, let's go Blues.
TJ Oshie. For both. I love him.